Maybe sometime in your life you have said, it works on my machine after I develop something. If you said that, I'm sorry, but I already hate you. And the thing is, today is a very special day. It's the Odoo experience. We're here to share, to laugh, to be happy, to drink, to be happy, I mean. So instead of hating you, I will actually show you what you can do instead of saying it works on your machine. You can say, yeah, it works at all. So I will be, my name is Julien, and I will be teaching you why and how you should test your code in Odoo. Here is the link for the QR code that will be used for the Q&A session at the end. Don't worry if you hadn't had time to scan it, you'll get it after. So you may ask, why even bother testing? And yeah, after all, it works on my machine. Well, the thing is, you need a test to prove that it works. It's not enough that it works on yourself. You're maybe the only machine on Earth that works. So you actually need an actual test that runs on a continuous integration tool to actually prove that your code works. And not only on your machine, but on other machines as well. That's very good. It's also good because it will give you reliability for refactoring. Because if you have a test on a feature or a fix, well, it means that if someone touches the feature initially, well, they will have to make the test pass if it doesn't. And lastly, test is good because it provides executable specifications. So what this means is you can read a test case and see what the feature is supposed to be doing. Well, okay, I gave you valid arguments on why you should test now. What can be tested? And the answer is simple, it's almost everything. Well, almost everything that you have control of. So if you create a component, you write a test. If you create a function, a helper, a service, a monkey patch, even that can be tested. You can test everything that you're writing, basically, mostly. So the question should be, what cannot you test? And it's, well, what you don't have control over. So basically, external libraries or native features. If you're starting to test Python native features, maybe you're doing the wrong thing, because if it doesn't work, you're not the only one in trouble anyway. Also, maybe style-only fixes or features. If you're only touching some lines of CSS, maybe it's not worthy to write a test for this because it's going to be hard to maintain. So now I'll just show you the different types of tests we use. There are two main families. You have unit testing and integration testing. Unit testing is for testing small add-ons of code. So basically a single feature. You have a function, you have a component, you only want to write a test for that specific thing and put it in the most contained environment possible. For unit tests, at least in the front end, we have mocks as well for the native features because you want your tests to be deterministic. That is something very important. That means if you want to run your test on a Thursday and a Friday, you want to have the same results. And this is why many features are mocked right out of the box. The result of this, having such a contained and small environment for unit tests, is that they are really fast. We're talking about a few seconds at most, and you can run as many as you want. It's really fast. Integration testing, on the other hand, in Odoo we have tours, which are supposed to be testing whole flows, so business logic, basically. Instead of testing a single Kanban card, for example, you will test the whole view, the whole module, the whole add-on, and its interactions with other add-ons as well. You will use this time the actual server. Nothing is mocked in a tour, because we want to replicate as much as of a real-life scenario as you can. That means that you actually use real requests, but don't worry, you won't be affecting your database because all of this runs in a transaction. The downside of integration testing of tours is that they can be much slower than unit tests because you spawn much more things and you use actual server requests. Round trip take time, so it's longer. We're talking about a few seconds to a few minutes in some cases. In unit testing, you have two other environments that you want to test. There is the server, the Python, and the JavaScript on the front end. The front end, we use Hoot, which is a homemade library that looks like Jest, if you're familiar with it. Yeah, and it runs in the browser. So you have to open the browser to be running this one. As for the Python unit tests, we use unit test, which is the name of a native Python package. we just imported. We have wrapper classes. For example, here we have base case, which is a wrapper around the main class exported by unit tests. And since it's a native library and most of the API is from that library, I won't be delving into it too much today. For integration testing, you have only tours, but there are two ways to write one. The first one is the one that always existed. It's from the JavaScript. You create a tour in the adequate registry, and what is a tour is just a list of steps. So it's in JSON notation. You have every time a selector and an action. And you can also now use, since Odoo 18, the tour recorder to create a tour. I'll show you a demo of this one later. I'll just show you now the setup for each unit test, each testing method. So the first one is Python. So how do you even write a test file? You will put it in the test folder. You will have it starting with test underscore. This is mandatory. And then you will import it the Python way, so in an init file. Then to write your test case, you will first have to write a test class that extends the test class provided by the unit test library. And then create test cases, which are methods, starting with test underscore, just like the file name. After that, you can write a test. Well, here you have a few examples of what unit test provides for assertions. You have assert equal and assert is for deep and strict equality. You have assert true, assert raises. You have many more. Again, this is all on their official documentation, so I won't be listing them. To run the Python test, it's very simple as well. You use the Odoo bin command, CLI command with test enable, and then you can filter if you want to run a specific test. For example, we want to run this test case with all its functions. Well, you give it a colon and then the name of the class. For JavaScript, it's a bit different. So you have here a test file that will be put in the static test folder of your add-on. The name should end with .test.js. And you have to import it not via an init file, but by going into the manifest of your add-on and putting that file into the adequate bundle. After that, you can just go to /web/test, and this will open the UI for the testing, the front-end testing framework. That I will show you also as well. And then to write your tests, here you don't use a class, you use functions. There are two main functions exported by Hoot. We have the test function to create a test case, and then expect, which creates assertions. You expect something to be something else, something to equal something else for strict and deep equality. You have not to inverse the results, and you have many more. This doesn't have a proper documentation yet, so I'll just show you where you can find these in a moment. And then here is a more advanced use case, because many times you don't want to test a single functions, you also want to create test front-end components or views. And here you can see that our framework provides many helpers to create a view and interact with it. You have mount with cleanup for a simple component, mount view for a whole view. You have helpers for clicking on the save button, for example, and many more as well. Now, if you run into /web/tests, this is what you will be looking at. So this is the user interface of Hoot. You have, well, there is a lot going on here, but you can just see it runs your tests, you can filter them, you can debug them, you can show the source code, you have clear messages about the assertions. But yeah, so I'll let you discover that yourself. Next, we have the integration testing. So tours. Same way, I will show you the setup. So a tour is executed from a Python unit test, so the steps are mostly the same. You have to write a file into the test folder, you have to start it with test underscore, and then create a class in it. In this case, we will use HTTP case, because this is the class that provides us with the start tour helper. The methods will start with test underscore as well. And start tour will initiate your tour. It will open a browser, it will start the tour, execute all the steps, and then your test will be done. You have a few arguments here. The first is the starting URL. The second is the name of the tour as defined in the JavaScript. I'll show you just after. And then a few optional arguments. You may want to test with a specific user. You give the login for testing for access rights, for example. And then something very useful is the debug argument for debugging your tours. Because what start tour does is start a browser in the background in headless, so you won't be seeing it. You will just have the console logs, and that's not very explicit. Like if there is an error, just see the traceback, and maybe the error is more obvious visually. So this is what it helps you do. It will spawn the browser for you, and you will see in real time the tour execute, and when it fails on the error, it will break, so you can, it will pause so you can see the browser and what went wrong. After that, since this is a unit test, after all, around the start tour, you can do everything that you can do in a unit test, meaning create data beforehand to set up your tour, and then you can perform assertions before and after the tour if you want to check that something has been properly set in the database. Be assured that this, since you're extending HTTP keys, your test will run in a transaction, so when running this, even if your tour touches a few records some here and there, you won't be affecting the actual database, it will revert to its initial state. Then this is for writing the test that will run the tour, but now you have to create the tour itself. So in this case, you have project tour. I will write it as well in the JavaScript by adding it to a registry and then specifying the list of steps. So this list of steps is just a list of objects, and these objects have only one mandatory key, which is trigger. And trigger is a selector, it's a string, that will match something in the document. And the tour will only progress as long as it finds every trigger for a step. The next interesting property is run, which is an optional action that you can run on the element you found with trigger. You can omit this step if you just want your step to be acting like some sort of assertion to ensure that an element has been found, but you don't want to do anything with it. And run will run an action on it. It can be click, edit, drag and drop, many things you want to do to interact with your UI. And then some other keys I won't be detailing too much because this is also in the documentation for testing. Now, there is the tour recorder that was introduced in 18 and is a bit hidden, so I thought it was a good idea to remind you that it exists. And yeah, so where it is hidden in the first place is in debug mode. First, you have to access them in debug. You have to go to the tours list, which can be accessed through /tours. It's the first result. And then in the list of tours, you have a small button on the left side, which is record. And this button will spawn the tour recorder. It will not start recording right away. It just means that the tour recorder will appear in the bottom left of your screen. And then from then you can record tours wherever you want. And this is what I'll be showing now. So, this is my database, and you can see that there is nothing to record. There is no tour recorder. I'll just access it now. I'm already in debug, so I can just head to tours, hit records. Here it is on the bottom left. And now you can start recording. You can start recording from a starting URL that is not the home menu. For example, if I head to project, I click on this one, and I head to project, and then I start recording the tour, so I will hit records. Now I head here, you can see it start recording my steps. Here it clicked on the second card. Now I will create a new task. I will name it, and I will click add, and there we go. Now we have steps that are matching what I just did now. I'm very happy with this very good tour, so I will save it. Here I will give it a name, tour, because I'm very inspired today. And here it is, it's saved. I can now head to the tours list again. So you can see these are all the tours existing in JavaScript already. I only have CRM projects and website installed, so I don't have many of them. You can see this is one of the tours that is written in JavaScript, so you don't see the steps because they're in the code. But here is the one I created. You can see it's marked as custom, and I can go into it and change things. I can say that everyone is here, all the steps are here. I can change the starting URL, I don't want debug, for example. And here I'm not too happy about this selector because this is not very robust. I clicked on the second card, yeah, but who knows what it may be in the next time. So I just want to write here, I want to click on Office Design. If you're familiar with jQuery, this is a pseudo selector that only exists in it, but our tour engine also supports it. We don't have jQuery anymore, but we still kept this because it's very nice to use. So now I will save it, and next I can run my tour as a test in the interface. I'll hit testing, and it will run the steps. And yeah, apparently it didn't work. It's all right. But yeah, normally it works. Once you're happy with your tool, because it works perfectly, you can then choose to export it in JavaScript version so that it's not in the database, and you can modify the steps as you want, because these are objects. You may want to add specifications to them. You may want to add more steps from the JavaScript. Well, then it's very easy. You go here and export JS, and yeah, here is the file, and you can see it's entirely scaffolded. You just have to put it in your code base, import it, and you have your tool. Here it's got the right name, you have the steps, and all the properties properly set. So here it is for the tool recorder. Now, I told you a few things about where to look. I told you there was official documentation, and I told you that some pieces were lacking documentation due to priority issues with the work we have. Most documentation for unit testing in Python at least and tools can be found on the odoo.com/documentation. And then for the rest, I can only give you a few tips. That is, look at existing tests, because we have lots of tests in Odoo. You may be surprised to find that your test case is already similar to something we already have, so feel free to copy and paste that. And also, yeah, that's as good as an advice as it goes, but read the inline documentation, because as much as we don't have documentation on the documentation repository, the code itself is documented through inline doc. So in this case, I can recommend that you program your IDE correctly, so you can have auto-completion, so you can discover more of these features. Next, I want to point out a good practice, which is to test-driven development. This is when you want to create a feature or a fix for something. You always have to attach a test, because as I said, everything needs a test. So why not create a test first, and then the feature or the fix after? And this is what this paradigm is for. So you create a failing test, because it's already, you're fixing an issue that hasn't been solved, or you're creating a feature that hasn't been coded yet. So you create a test, according to the specifications you have, you convert them into assertions, you run the tests, and you ensure that it's failing. Then you make it pass. You turn to the production code, and you write your fix, your feature, and you make the test pass by any way you want. And you ensure that it passes. And now you can already merge it at this point, but there is an optional third step, which is refactoring, because if you went a bit funky in the way you made your test pass, you may want to adapt it to good practices, because anyway, your test ensures that the feature is now stable, and you may go ahead. So a few final words now. Tests are very important. Do tests. You can do unit tests, integration tests, any tests. Write at least one, because it's very important. One test is also an incredible amount of added value. It at least proves that your feature or fix works in at least one case, and this is already very valuable. Thank you for listening. I'll now listen to your questions.
Hello, so thank you for your presentation. We have a few questions online. First one, how would you test routes to ensure your setup still works after making routing changes?
How do you test?
To test the routes.
Routing changes. I'm not sure about that one, but what I can recommend, when in doubt, you can always write integration testing like tours, because it's the easiest to do. You want to test business logic, you want to test a flow, you write a tour, and you will go through lots of interactions of your codes, and you will be very happy about it, probably.
Perfect, thank you. In Runbots, are there plans to show test coverage?
Yes, I think so. Runbot is always finding new ideas to expand to better their product. So yeah, we're actually working on some tooling to have graphs to see progression of memory consumption and test coverage. Yeah, this will definitely be something we'll be adding in the future, I think.
Perfect. We have another question about tests on runbot. Sometimes it works on a runbot, but it fails in nightly builds or single app tests. Do we have anything on runbot to test and see those before merging a branch?
I don't actually know that because I'm not sure about the exact mechanism of nightly runbots. I just know it tests way more configurations of code, like it tests some add-ons, some databases with add-ons installed and some other not, because initially runbot only tests like with no add-on and with all the add-ons, but no in between, and nightly go a long way in between that. So I don't really know exactly how you can replicate all the nightly conditions, but yeah, definitely it's probably some interaction with another add-on, so you can try and eliminate the culprits and install some add-ons and see what works.
Perfect, thank you. Another question, Odoo is upgraded regularly. What risks arise if you skip automated testing using hoods or unit tests before migrating to a new Odoo version?
Well, you risk losing everything. If you don't have tests, you don't have any assertion that your code actually works, that your features, your fixes are kept. So no test is very, very risky. I wouldn't recommend that. I would definitely recommend spending the added time to not skip tests, but make them pass in the first place. Yeah.
Thank you. Does the new AI integration can be tested in any way?
I have no idea. I don't know about AI integration in testing, so yeah, sorry.
Perfect. We have lots of questions and only 3 minutes, so can you set up test fixtures?
Test fixtures, yeah. So by default, when you're creating components in the DOM, it already creates a fixture for you. So it's an element that is created by the test runner. It's automatically appended as soon as you create a component, and it's toned down after the end of the test, so you don't have to do any cleanup. But yeah, it's already in a contained environment, yeah.
How would you recommend dealing with standard tests broken by custom modules?
Sorry?
So how to deal with standard tests that are standard tests broken by custom modules?
Well, standard tests are here for a reason. Well, it depends actually, because some cases may be valid where you're breaking a test if you're changing a feature. As I said, some tests are here to specify what the feature is supposed to be doing. It's some kind of specification in itself. But if you change the specifications, you can change the test. You can adapt it, of course. Although if it's a fix, you may probably not want to break it, but it depends on you, but you have to be responsible, of course, of what you'll be doing. You have to be sure that you're adapting the test for a given case.
Where can I consult the results of my Python tests, like success, failures, coverage? Yeah,
so Python tests, when run, are you can see the logs actually in your server. In the server logs, you should have the assertions for each test. It's kind of conspicuous for Python testing, but just know that if there is an error, at least you will see it. It's a huge traceback. There is no way to miss it, but if you don't see anything, it's a good news.
And what are the size/template tests and how to solve this? This last question. When we get a message saying contact our team by Discord.
CI templates, I don't know. You will have to ask the runbot team for that question. I'm not sure about this.
Okay, another question. Is there a specific reason Odoo sticks with unit test rather than PyTest, given PyTest's popularity in Python projects?
I'm not sure about that one either. I think it's historical probably because, I haven't really much touched about Python unit testing before a few months ago, so I haven't really challenged that decision, but yeah, maybe we'll migrate at some point. I'm not really sure about that one.
Perfect, and we only have a few seconds. Would you have an example of a small bug in a module where this can lead to a financial loss or compliance issue? In 29
out of
seconds?
my mind, I'm sorry. I can't imagine other cases, but yeah.
There are other questions on the pad. The time is off, so if you want go to him directly for other questions.
I'll
and
stay
thank
here
you
for
very
the
much.
remaining of the event, so you can ask questions directly. Thank you.